Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome back to my channel. As we were doing higher tier paper 3 2023 Edexcel Maths, and we have done till question number 10. Well, this series is all about how you can improve your grades just by doing the past papers. So here not only I'll be solving the questions, but I'll be discussing the topics or the subtopics revolving around a particular question. If you need one-on-one personal assistance or you need group classes, you can just email us at edexcel@gmail.com. It's just at £6 per hour GCSE classes. And also, if you need the classes from year 1 to year 13 for any subject, you can just email us at edexcel@gmail.com. And if you're looking for the free resources like the worksheets, written material, just log in to www.edexcelacademy.com. Okay, so now let me start with the question number 11. The table shows some information about the heights of a group of adults that's given here, and we have to draw a box plot. Well, box plot is basically a graphical representation of interquartile range, that is upper quartiles, lower quartile, higher value, lower value, and also about the median. So here you can clearly see this is a box plot. They have plotted the smallest value here, the largest value here. This one would be lower quartile, this one would be upper quartile, and this one is median. And same we have to plot it here. So what I'm doing, first I have to plot the smallest value. Here it's 169 centimeters. So 169 would be here, I would say. You can clearly see 2 squares represents 1 unit. So 169 would be here. We have to make it a little smaller, like this. Then parallelly, I have to draw the the highest value. The greatest value is 186, which would be here, like this. Now, we have to represent upper quartile. Just like I said, this one represents upper quartile. So we have to represent upper quartile here, which is 180 centimeters. Lower quartile here, so which is 174 centimeters. This one's here. Upper quartile is 180, which is exactly here. Median is 177, so 2 units after this. This one. That's all we need to do. And now I have to make a box like this. Let me just finish it like this. And join together like this. And this is our box plot. Obviously we can take the smaller height because they have taken the smaller height, so it would be better. Well, height is totally on you, whatever you want to pick. It says compare the distribution of the heights of the adults with the distribution of the heights of the teenager. Clearly we can see that the adults have the higher median, right? They have the median here, which is 168, and here the median is 177. So I can compare. Whenever we have to compare the medians, interquartile range. So here I can say median of adults is higher. Second, I can say the interquartile range is exactly the same. Interquartile range is upper quartile minus lower quartile. So here upper quartile minus lower quartile is 6. And also I can see 165 and this is 172, which is again 6. So interquartile range is same for both. It's same for both. We can calculate the range as well. So here range is what? The highest value minus lowest value. So 186 minus 169, which is 17. And here this would be 157.5, and this one is 178. So 178 minus 157.5, which is greater, I can clearly see. So I can say range for teenagers is higher. And this is how you can compare. But mainly with the distribution, they expect you to tell the interquartile range and median. Moving on to the next question. Show that x minus 1 times x plus 3 times x minus 5 can be written like this. Well, this is triple bracket. Let me see how we can do single bracket, double bracket, and the triple brackets all together. If suppose there is a number and you have to expand the single bracket, which is single bracket is here, which is 4 times x plus 1. So you just have to multiply all the numbers inside the bracket with the outside number. So 4 times x is 4x and 4 times 1 is 4. And this is how you can multiply. Similarly, suppose inside the brackets you have 3 terms like this. So I can multiply this 4 with every term. So 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times 2 is 8x. And 4 times 1 is just 4. And similarly, if there are n number of terms inside the bracket, you just have to keep on multiplying them. Moving on to the double bracket. It's x plus 1 times x plus 2. There are 2 ways. I would prefer if you take x and multiply with the second bracket. X plus 2. Take plus 1 and multiply with this second bracket. So every term of the first bracket will be multiplied with the second bracket. So that's why every term which was x plus 1, those 2 terms were there, x and 1, and I have multiplied them with the second term. So again, what I did, I have splitted it into single brackets, and we have to work just like how we did the previous one. So x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x, plus 1 times x is x and 1 times 2 is 2. So answer is x squared plus 3x plus 2. Moving on to the triple brackets. So triple brackets, you have to solve 2 brackets at a time. You can pick any 2 brackets. So I have picked this one. So what I did, I have I have simplified the triple brackets into double brackets. And now again the same concept, that every term of the first bracket will be multiplied with the second bracket. So x will be multiplied with x plus 2 and 1 will be multiplied with x plus 2. This will give you x squared plus 2x plus x plus 2, which is x squared plus 3x plus 2. But do remember, still there is a third bracket running all the way together. So once you have simplified the 2 brackets, you do have one more bracket, so expand it. Again, moving with the same concept that says that multiply every term of the first bracket with the second bracket. So x squared will be multiplied with x plus 3. Then 3x will be multiplied with x plus 3. And 2 will be multiplied with x plus 3. And now I have to simplify. So this is how you can solve triple brackets. Now coming back to this question, which is an example of the triple brackets. So here I have to multiply 2 brackets together. So let's say these two. So x minus 1 times x plus 3. So multiply every term of the first bracket with the second bracket. So I have to multiply x with x plus 3 and minus 1 with x plus 3. And still there is x minus 5 all the way running through. Now multiply x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. Minus 1 times x is minus x. And minus 1 times 3 is minus 3. And x minus 5. So this will be x squared plus 2x minus 3 times x minus 5. Now again we have to multiply. So now again we have split it into two different brackets. So we have to multiply every term of the first bracket with the second bracket. So this would be x squared times x minus 5 plus 2x times x minus 5 and minus 3 times x minus 5. I have multiplied every term of the first bracket with the second bracket. This will give me x cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x squared minus 10x minus 3x plus 15, which then can be simplified to x cubed minus 3x squared minus 13x plus 15. This is your answer. I'm writing down the final answer here, which is x squared minus 3x squared minus 13x plus 15. Now, see question number 13. Well, this is called induction. That means when you have to prove like the odd numbers, even numbers, sum of few even numbers is always the square of something, sum of consecutive odd numbers is the square of something. Never put 1, 2, 3 for example, because 1 or 2, 2, 3, if you are putting a number, it will not give you any universal answer. Let me show you an expression for the nth term of the sequence of a triangular number is n times n plus 1 over 2. This is nth term. So don't try to put 1 that will give you first term, 2 that will give you second term. Don't do this. Instead, what we can do, let's say the first number be n, because it says prove that the sum of any two consecutive triangular number is a square number. So consecutive, that means just after. If first number is n, then another would be n plus 1 term, not the number. If the first term is nth term, the next term would be n plus 1th term. And that means I need to substitute n here. It simply says that this is a series. And if you add any two consecutive number, it is always a square number. So mostly what a student does, they actually put first term will be 1 times 1 plus 1, 2 over 2. Second term would be 2 times 3 over 2. Third term will be 3 times 4 over 2. That means first term will be 1. Second term would be 3. Third term would be 6. Okay, now they will add. Consecutive number 3 plus 1, 4. Yeah, it's a square number. Consecutive number 3 plus 6, 9. Yes, it's a square number. And hence proved. But this is not a correct way of doing it. You have to write in terms of n. So let's say there is a nth term. So the consecutive next term will be n plus 1th term. So I just have to put it here, just like we were replacing n with 1, 2, 3. Here I will be replacing it with n and n plus 1. So substituting n here, so n times n plus 1 over 2, that would be your nth term. N plus 1th term will be, in place of n, I'm writing n plus 1. So in place of n, I'll write n plus 1. And again, in place of n, I'll write n plus 1. And there's 1 there already. So this is n times n plus 1 over 2. And this would be n plus 1 times n plus 2 over 2. And now we have to add them up. So this would be n squared plus n over 2. And this would be, we have just seen how to multiply double brackets. N squared plus 2n plus n plus 2 over 2. Further on, because we now have the same denominator, so I can add them up. So n squared plus n squared plus 3n plus 2 over 2. This then can be written as 2n squared plus 4n plus 2 over 2. Taking out 2 out as common, n squared plus 2n plus 1 over 2. So this is n squared plus 2n plus 1. When I factorize a quadratic, factorization of a quadratic, that means we have actually already done in our previous questions. I have explained like in previous paper. You have to think of two numbers. Their sum should be equals to b and product should be equals to a times c. Because when I compare it with ax squared plus bx plus c, Sum should be equals to B and product should be A times C. Here, I have to find two numbers. Their sum should be equals to 2 and product should be equals to 1. And two numbers are 1 and 1. So this can be factorized as n plus 1 times n plus 1, which is n plus 1 whole squared. So when I add them up, it will give me n plus 1 whole squared. That means this is a square number. So yes, we have proved that the sum of any two consecutive triangular number is always a square number. Okay, moving on to the next one. Question number 14 says OAB is a triangle. OBC is a sector of a circle, center O. Calculate the area of OBC. We have to calculate the area of OBC, which is a sector. So important thing is you should know the area of a sector. So I'm just writing down the formula to calculate area of a sector and also length of the arc. This is length of the arc. In this question, we don't need that, but still I'm writing it for the future purpose. Area of a sector. A sector is what? Bounded by two radii and an arc. So its area is theta over 360 times pi r squared, whereas r stands for radius. This is the radius, obviously, and theta stands for angle. This is the angle that is actually bounded by the two radii, that is the angle, which is 80 degrees in this case. I'll be doing it later, but let me just write down the formulas first. Then length of the arc. This is a length of the arc. So length of the arc is theta over 360. I'm sorry. It's yes, yeah, it's clear. So theta over 360 times 2 pi r. That's the length of the arc. Now, it will give you this. Say, for example, they're asking you to calculate the perimeter of the arc, of the sector, sorry. So, a sector is basically bounded by two radii and length of the arc. So, we can calculate this r plus this is also r plus length of arc. This will give you the perimeter of a sector. Well, coming back to this question, which is asking you to calculate the area of the sector OBC. Now, obviously, we have, if I look into this equation, I do have angle, but unfortunately, I don't have radius. And that's the reason they have given this triangle, so that we can calculate the radius. That means my aim is to calculate this length. That's it. So I have to take help from this triangle. This is not a right triangle, and if it's not a right triangle, there's no point of simply using trigonometric functions, that is sine, cos, tan. You can't. For those triangles, those are not right angle triangles, we always use sine and cosine rule. Well, I have already discussed, but I'm discussing it once again. So, sine rule and cosine rule are the rules that actually is used when the triangle is not a right angle triangle. So, I'm explaining it here. This is your triangle. And now, the main question is generally the student get confused when to apply sine rule, when to apply cosine rule. So sine rule is when you are dealing with two lengths and two angles. Okay, the combination of two sides and a combination of two angles would give you an answer. So this is a B, C, and this is side B, this is side C, this is side A. Always remember, sine of angle A, this is sine rule, sine of angle A over A, that is side A. This angle that I'm talking about, sine of angle A over A, which is side A, equals sine of angle B, this B. Okay, now I'm moving on to the next angle, sine of angle B over opposite side. So sine of angle B over B is equals to sine of angle C over opposite side. So sine of angle C, and always remember it has to be. So this is sine rule. Now the second is the cosine rule, which is cosine rule. Now the cosine rule says when the three sides are given and you have to calculate angles, or two sides and an included angle is given and you have to calculate the third side. In that case, that means still there is an involvement of three sides and one angle, then we always go for cosine rule, which is here in this case. Because we need this third side and two sides and an included angle is already given. That's important. Because if two sides and non-included angle is given, then we don't go for cosine. In that case, we first apply sine rule. That means suppose this angle is not given, this angle is given. This angle is not included. Included, that means that is making in between these two sides which are given. So if in this case this angle is not given, instead this angle is given, then we will go for sine rule. So that's you have to keep in mind when three sides are given and you have to calculate an angle, or two sides and included angle is given and you have to calculate the third side, we always go for cosine rule. Now cosine rule says, let's say this be a triangle. Same I'll do, that means angle A, B and C. Side opposite to angle B is B. Side opposite to angle C is C. And side opposite to angle A is A. Now, cosine rule says, let I want to find this side, which is B. So I'll write B squared here, is equals to, because I want to calculate this side, I have written B squared. Well, it all depends which angle is given. That's important. I'll explain you this here. Now, I'll add the square of other two sides, which is A squared plus C squared, and also minus 2 times A and C, the same two sides, multiplied by cos of the angle included between C and A. This is C and A, so angle between them is B, so cos of B. Similarly, if you want to calculate A squared, that means this one, so sum of squares of other two sides, which will be B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos of A. And then if you want to calculate C squared will be A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos of angle included between A and B, which is C. Or you can say this C would be here, this A would be here, and this B would be here. Now, if we try to apply it here, because we want to calculate this side. So, as I told you, it's important that which angle is given. This angle is given, right? Angle A is given here. So we will be applying. So in that case, this is going to be a side A, because opposite to angle A is side A. So A squared is equals to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos of A. So BO squared here is equals to 9 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times 9 times 6 cos of A, which is 35 degrees. Answer would be BO squared comes out to be 28.53, and taking root for BO will get answer as 5.34. Now, once we have this value, this is radius of the sector. this and this is same. And as I told you, the formula to calculate the area of a sector is theta over 360 times pi r squared, and r in this case is BO and OC, which is same, that is 5.35. This angle is 80 degrees, so this is going to be 80 over 360 times pi times r, which is 5.34 whole squared. If you solve this, it comes out to be 19.9 centimeters squared. So by this you will get an idea that if the triangle is not a right triangle, you have to use sine or cosine rule to calculate the missing side or the angles. Now moving on to the next one, which is question 15. It says factorize a squared minus b squared. Well, it's a quadratic. There are two types or two ways by which you can factorize this one, but there is a short trick. Whenever you see the square of two numbers separated by the negative sign, that means suppose 36 times 9, because they both are square numbers, a squared minus b squared is a square number, so the factorization is directly a plus b times a minus b. Suppose you'll get 36x squared minus 16y squared. So 36x is 6x whole squared and 16y is 4y whole squared. These two are square numbers. Now if you will factorize, so 6x plus 4y times 6x minus 4y. And it works other way as well. So suppose a plus b times a minus b, and you have to expand this as directly a squared minus b squared. So it works both ways. Now moving on to the next part, part B says show that 2 to the power of 40 minus 1 is the product of two consecutive odd numbers. See, whenever we talk about the odd numbers are 2n plus 1 or 2n minus 1. Why? Because 2n represents even number. Any number multiplied by 2 will automatically becomes the even number. So 2n, in terms of n, we always represents 2n as even number. So we know if I add plus 1 or minus 1, I'll get odd number to any even number. 2 plus 1, 3 odd. 6 plus 1, 7 odd. 10 minus 1, 9 odd. So obviously, alternatively, you will get an odd number. It says show that the 2 to the power of 40 minus 1 is the product of two consecutive odd numbers. So we have to prove that the product of two consecutive odd number will be equals to this one. That means I need to factorize it. And this is why they have given this up there to give you an idea. So 2 to the power of 40 can be written as 2 to the power of 20 whole squared minus 1 squared, which resembles exactly with a squared minus b squared. So I can factorize it. How I get to know that I have to factorize? Because factorization is actually the product of two terms, right? So that's why I have to factorize, so that I can find the product of two different terms. So this can be written as 2 to the power of 20 plus 1 times 2 to the power of 20 minus 1. As I told you that even number, suppose 2 to the power of 20 is your even number. Suppose what it's obviously 2 to the power of 20 is an even number. So plus 1 is odd number and minus 1 is also odd number. So obviously 2 to the power of 20, the next number, just the next number of 2 to the power of 20 is 2 to the power of 20 plus 1. And just one number before is 2 to the power of 20 minus 1. So you can see that obviously if you add one number to even number, you will get the next odd number. If you subtract 1 from the even number, you will get the previous odd number. And these two odd numbers are definitely the consecutive odd numbers. So that's why we can prove that it's the product of two consecutive odd numbers. Well, I think that's it for today. And in the next class, in the next video, we'll be continuing this paper and we'll be discussing the topics around those questions. Well, so yeah, that's it for today. Have a great day. Take care.